Bags, Pappy. They're called bags, and every Spoilers has them. This is Spoilers.
Hey,
Hey, everybody.
What?
huh?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Spoilers. This is Jordan, your host, recording from North Carolina tonight. We're going to whip around pretty quick at the beginning here, and we'll go over the movie in a second. For our opening question, we're going to go east to west, and Stevie asked me to do a Thanksgiving-based opening question. So it's going to be...
We're almost there.
It's going to be, you have all the Thanksgiving traditional food items at your choice, but you can only put two things on your plate. What are your two choices? East to west. I think, Brett, you're the most east?
Yeah. This is Brett from Fort Wayne. That's pretty easy, I would say. Well, one's like a combination. It's turkey and mashed potatoes and gravy.
I'll take gravy as a condiment there. Yeah. That's fine.
What? That's three things.
Gravy's a condiment.
Gravy's not a food.
Turkey gravy or mashed potatoes and gravy?
Turkey gravy. Whatever.
What if Brett substitutes the gravy as a drink? Can he get away with that?
Is it a bowl or a plate?
No, at that point it becomes a separate item. Brett, that was a good answer, man.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. I don't know who the next Eastist is.
It's probably me. This is Brother Josh. I guess I would go mashed potatoes and noodles. I just found out recently that a lot of people that aren't from northern Indiana don't maybe know about that, which was shocking to me. But
Noodles?
Noodles, yeah, like beef and noodles, chicken and noodles, mashed.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I know. I thought it's really obvious. We eat that all the time, but a lot of carbs.
Yeah.
Carb City.
Delicious carbs.
I'll go next. This is Mikey. Let me just check my notes here. Yes, I'm Mikey.
Hey now.
Recording from Goshen. I really like sweet potatoes, and then I guess I'd have to say
Barf.
Turkey.
Sweet potatoes. Interesting choice.
Barf. Ew, potatoes,
Sorry.
gross. You crazy.
I'm sorry, it's a healthy vegetable, Brett.
Ew, can't believe you like potatoes. You must be Irish.
Stevie, calm the storm here.
This is Stevie recording from Elkhart, and mine would be beef and noodles in all the King's Hawaiian rolls you have.
Ooh.
That's three things.
Ooh.
What? No, beef and noodles is one. No, it's one, Brett.
So is mashed potatoes and gravy.
But your gravy is a drink, Brett. It's different.
I would then argue that mashed potatoes and noodles is also one thing. So I'll add corn.
No.
This is getting off the rails.
Corn is your next choice?
But I think rolls are a standard. It just comes with a roll. Your two choices.
You gotta go King's Hawaiian.
Mashed potatoes, noodles, corn, and a roll.
Pat, bring us home, man. Pat, you gotta bring us home.
This is Pappy recording from Denver, Colorado, and I'm just a stuffing man. Can I go just double up on stuffing?
Double stuffed?
That's all a plate full of stuff. That's what I'm about.
Oh my God.
Yuck.
Gross.
Not what I meant by bring us home, man.
Oh, sorry.
Wasn't quite what I had in mind. The audience. Poor people. So
What about
today
you,
we're
Joe?
reviewing...
What's yours, Jordan?
Probably turkey and noodles on the side.
Can I ask Jordan a secret long question before we get out of this? What is your favorite Thanksgiving meal? Mom and Dad's?
Ooh, man.
Grandma,
Don't do
Dad's
it, man.
mom,
Don't
or
do
Mom's
it.
dad?
It's Grandma Long. Everyone knows this.
Who is that? Which one is that? You say Grandmama?
No,
Grandma
Long.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The last name's Long, Brett, so I'm guessing it's on the father's side.
I thought he said Grandmama.
I said it completely
Grandmama.
wrong, but
Grandmama.
Jordan answered correctly.
Grandmama.
So.
Also, we're not going to
Babushka.
acknowledge the other person on this call tonight. We should pretend like she's not here.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
She's trying to skate by night here.
Jordan, did she request that you pick this movie?
Yes, let's all acknowledge the
Let's just-
NSA.
she-
listening in.
So we have a secret listener tonight. My girlfriend Kirsten. She chose this movie. I didn't realize till after that we started watching it. She'd only seen the end, and that's why she chose it, which doesn't make any sense to me, but here she is anyways.
Hey.
Kirsten, why did you pick this movie? Because I have a theory.
Do you want the honest truth?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was watching Riverdale.
I love me some Riverdale.
They did a musical of Carrie the musical.
The Carrie.
The Carrie.
Interesting.
Is this a new episode, Kirsten?
It was one of the last ones in the last season, yeah.
What did Jordan do to you that he owed you a pick on this podcast?
Whoa. Let's not get into that. She asked me to choose this probably 6 months ago, and I've won trivia twice then, I think,
And
which
you
is
did
embarrassing.
Point
but
Break instead.
I
The
did
remake
Point
of
Break
Point
number
Break.
2, and I did something else really terrible, and she was very angry. So, Kirsten, your two Thanksgiving choices then.
Mine's definitely turkey and mashed potatoes.
A staple.
Yep. There we
Potatoes, gross.
go. Potatoes.
But potatoes have milk and butter, so that's like 3 things.
I'm gonna redact mine. I'm just choosing salt and pepper.
Ooh, yeah. Nice.
I think that's the winner, Mikey. I didn't know that's how... Oh, man. Too much.
Just like they lift up this dish and it's just a big thing of pepper on it. It's a mound.
Secret family recipe.
All right, so Carrie.
Aw.
It's the night of the senior prom. The Bates High School gym is alive with excitement. And everybody is there, even Carrie White. The girl no one likes.
We're all sorry about this incident, Cassie.
It's Carrie!
And everyone makes fun of her.
Free Carrie!
The girl who lives in that creepy house with her crazy mother.
Help the sinning woman see the sin of her days and ways. Show her that if she had remained sinless, the curse of blood would never have come on her.
The girl with the strange power.
If I concentrate hard enough, I can move things.
But tonight, no one will laugh at Carrie.
If you don't have a date for the prom next Friday, would you like to go with me?
She's with the best-looking boy in the senior class.
He's trying to trick me again.
She'll be voted queen of the prom.
You know, I can make sure that you don't hurt Carrie White anymore.
For Carrie, it will be a dream come true. For everyone else, it will be a nightmare. Carrie. A new film by Brian De Palma. Based on the chilling bestseller. Starring Sissy Spacek, Piper Laurie, and introducing John Travolta in his first motion picture role. If you have a taste for terror, you have a date with Carrie.
Stephen King's first novel, and his first novel made into a movie from my records here. Diving right in.
Is it Stephen or Stephen King?
Stefan.
Steven.
Stefan King's first film adaptation and first novel. Our first scene here is pretty intense. Mikey on the chat called it legendary, but I'm going to throw it to Brett here. Can you explain kind of what's going on?
Yeah.
Don't throw it to me.
Why?
All right, so well, first of all, the first scene they're playing volleyball, and the first one they show, some girl just totally blows it, and then Carrie blows it way less, and they're like, "Oh, Carrie, you suck." Like, what about that other girl who just blew it? Either way, so they're like, the scene changes to like a bunch of naked women in the locker room.
Just like Brett's voice got a little bit deeper when he started.
Gosh. He just grew a mustache while saying that sentence.
So the scene changes to not gross. Steamy shower. It's like kind of like a typical 80s shower scene, but in the 70s. So
more Bush.
Carrie was kind of ahead of its time. Well, yeah, but so they're all just giggling and laughing, and then Carrie's over in the shower by herself, and let's kick it to Josh. Still me?
Carrie is giving herself a very like sensual massage.
In front of everybody.
Yeah.
We haven't gone into like the director, but I think Brian De Palma's maybe known for being a little bit a misogynist, a little bit. So I don't know. There's close-ups of like every part of her body, and then she drops the soap, and blood starts coming down, and then I'll pass it to Mikey.
3 passes for one scene.
Why are we
I love this popcorn reading of this movie. They're going to come around and
the
like,
whole
Stevie
scene
can't
is-
read.
Not all of us can read, all right?
The whole scene leads up to Carrie having her first period as a 50-year-old woman.
Oh, jeez.
She looks so old, but this is like her first period, and she's having it right there in the locker room in front of all the girls that bully her constantly. So she's freaking out, and she's kind of looking around for help, and everybody's being a real dick.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That was a tough watch.
To be fair, she's not being real couth either, just grabbing everyone all naked and bloody.
But like, if you didn't know anything about that, that would probably freak you out.
She was throwing blood on some nice clothes, though. I'd have been a little pissed.
I think she knows what it is. She's just freaked out that her mom is going to find out. I think that's why she's
No, but
freaking
she
out.
says, like, later, she says, why didn't you tell me?
Yeah.
The way the teacher reacts is also super extreme because she just comes and starts slapping the shit out of Carrie. Like, calm down. It's just your period.
Multiple kids get slapped.
There's a lot of beatings in this movie.
Yeah.
A lot of slaps.
Snaps?
A lot of slaps, a lot of paps.
So we cut from the bathroom to the principal's office. And well, actually no, I had one more point in the shower scene. She breaks a light bulb like right over the shower. How's she going to get out of there without like busting up her feet there? Is that a continuity error? Stevie, what you got?
Well, I mean, she was probably in so much shock to begin with, she probably didn't feel the pain of the glass beneath her feet.
Wow.
I think it shattered into 1 trillion pieces, each one too small to pierce the human skin.
A fine dust.
Back
of
into
glass.
sand.
But did you guys pick up that you think like the period activated her powers? Like that's like the first time she was able to do stuff. It's kind of linked to that.
Probably, yeah. I would think so.
Do what kind of stuff, Pappy?
Telekinesis
and pyromancy.
Pyromancy.
All the powers that comes with being a woman.
Man.
Not to dwell on the nude scene, but like the main popular blonde chick is like the one girl that there's like a slow-mo longer shot of.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys track.
Here
Smash
comes
bags.
Josh with his morality, sexuality police. Mel Rights is okay though.
No, I was just pointing
Starting
it out.
early.
It's interesting
Starting
that
early.
they used this group of girls like in every class, like in every scene. Like they kept
Do you
it
have a
pretty
problem
consistent.
with the nudity? Because I really don't. Because I think it ties into the whole. The theme is like sexuality and her, awakening or puberty. Do you think that nudity is inappropriate, Josh?
I wasn't commenting on inappropriateness. I was just saying it's interesting that
Do you think
all
it
the
is,
girls
though?
kind of had little cameos throughout. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It is maybe a little excessive. Like we get the point of it, and is maybe a little too slow motiony, like a little pervy. But I don't know. It's the 70s. I mean, it wasn't super over sexualized, I think, is to your point, right? Especially in that first scene.
Well, see, I had only ever seen this on TV, and then when we watched this for the podcast on like Amazon Prime, I was like, whoa, this might be the most bags in spoilers history for real. Like, this might be a record.
Is this the most bags per capita in one scene that we've had, though? I can't think of another.
I think so.
Yes.
Brett?
I haven't been on as many. I'm just.
Are we
I
talking
can't,
about by volume or by sheer numbers?
I just can't. I can't get over Josh saying there's too much nudity and slow motion together. Like those things always go together, and there's never too much.
So
For once, I agree with
Brett's
Brett.
the devil on the shoulder.
I don't know the answer to your question. I'm sorry.
So we cut to the principal's office where they're having a very loud conversation.
Kirsten hung up.
Where the principal and the gym teacher, Miss Collins, are having a very loud conversation that Carrie can clearly hear in the hallway about how
Cassie.
like weird about Cassie can clearly hear how weird she is, how weird her mom is. Just seems pretty inappropriate. But it's kind of here where we get our first introduction to the mom. Stevie, kind of what are your thoughts going into this scene and generally going into the kind of the main part of the movie here?
Well, she's psychotically religious, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with being religious, but I feel like she like takes it to a whole nother level, and she kind of pretty much throws at Carrie that like the world is Satan and don't be corrupted by the world and just stick with me and you'll be all right, which is obviously not the case, because when she like throws her in the closet for that one scene, there's just like a doll of Jesus that looks like Weird Al Yankovic. And he has
Saint Sebastian.
It's not Jesus, yeah.
Saint Sebastian.
Yeah.
Okay, nonetheless, it looks just like
really?
Weird Al.
That's why I'm ranked number 1 in Catholic trivia. But yeah, apparently they just picked that saint because it looked creepy. They found that doll. It's like,
it does. It
Is
does
that
look
why it has the
creepy.
eyes like that new weird mascot from?
It feels
Like
like,
the
something
googly
they
eyes?
found, yeah, like a thrift shop or something.
What the fuck?
But
Yeah, it's very odd, and it's got knives, and it pretty much mirrors what happens at the end, but yeah.
Arrows.
Her mother is straight crazy.
Mrs. White.
How have you been, Mrs. Smith?
Fine.
And the doctor?
Fine.
And your daughter?
Sue is fine. Won't you come in, Mrs. White?
Oh, how kind of you.
I think Carrie is in some of Sue's classes.
Yes.
Well, perhaps sometime she might like to visit.
I'm here on the Lord's work, Mrs. Snell. Spreading the gospel of God's salvation through Christ's blood.
Yes, of course.
I have something here I know is going to interest the doctor and you. The teenager's path to salvation through the cross of Jesus.
I don't think Sue would be very interested in that.
Oh, the children are wandering through the wilderness of sin these days, Mrs. Snell.
My Sue is a good girl.
These are godless times, Mrs. Snell.
Well, I'll drink to that. We'll all read these. Excuse me. Please sit down, Mrs. White.
what'd you think of Piper Laurie's performance, Stevie? She got nominated for an Oscar, and she also
Shocking
plays
to me.
Catherine Martell on Twin Peaks. But I was listening to this interview, and she was saying that she thought it was like a satire. She thought she was in a comedy, and so she was intentionally going over the top. And that's what got her an Oscar nomination.
It's interesting you say that, because I thought it seemed like they just grabbed her from like a stage act, because she's very stage in this movie, like very over the top, like you said.
She even kind of moves like she's walking on a stage.
Definitely. She did do stage work in between her like comeback. She was kind of big in the 50s. She's probably in that movie Pappy Loves. I think she's in The Hustler.
I actually haven't seen that movie.
Oh, I figured you'd love Paul Newman, so you'd seen him.
Be a good spoilers pick, Brett. You could be the Paul Newman guy of this pod.
How many 1950s movies have we done?
I think just 12 Angry Men.
For one, I thought that the first scene when we see her mom, she's in like a neighbor or friend's house and she's trying to like collect money. I thought she was fake religious at first, because when she kind of goes home and she grabs Carrie in a certain way, and I think it almost seems like she's just like putting on airs, I guess. And I don't know, so I thought it was pretty weird, but then it turns very quickly, like, oh no, she's like
She's
religious
all in.
and like, yeah, she's like fucked up religious. And yeah, locks her in that closet, like you said, Stevie, and it's pretty intense.
Yo, woman now.
Why didn't you tell me, Mama?
And God made Eve from the rib of Adam. And Eve was weak and loosed the raven on the world. And the raven was called sin. Say it. The raven was called sin.
Why didn't you tell me, Mama?
Say it.
No.
The raven was called sin.
Ooh, woman. And the raven was called sin.
And first sin was intercourse. First sin was intercourse.
I didn't sin, Mama. No,
say it.
I didn't sin, Mama.
First sin was intercourse. First sin was intercourse. First sin was intercourse.
And the first sin was intercourse, Mama. I was so scared. I thought I was dying. And the girls, they all laughed at me and threw things at me,
And
Mama.
Eve was weak. Say it.
No, Mama.
Eve was weak.
No.
Eve was weak.
No.
Eve was weak. Say it.
No, Mama.
Say it.
Eve was weak. Eve was weak.
Later, we kind of move on in the story. The girls are all getting punished for throwing tampons and pads at Carrie in the shower. Josh, is this how they actually punish people for misbehavior in the 60s and 70s? Or
Okay, so Jordan, our parents are probably around this age that this is representing in this movie. And I do remember Mom and Dad talking about like capital punishment and spanking kids being in the school.
Corporal punishment,
yeah,
not
that's
capital
capital.
punishment.
Yikes.
Corporal punishment.
the chair.
Yeah, they gassed kids at school.
Oh, too far.
Edit.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, I love the teacher like taking it to the kids and just being like, you don't even realize how shitty you are, and it sets the tone really quick for you to hate. What's her name? Nancy Allen's character, Chris, the tall blonde girl. Like she
It's
sets
not
herself.
Sue.
Girl
It's,
from RoboCop.
She sets
Hargison.
her,
Chris, played by Nancy Allen.
yeah, Chris.
Who would go on to marry Brian De Palma later in her life.
Interesting.
Yeah, it sets herself up as like the bad person pretty well.
Yeah, she sucked.
This is some pretty extreme punishment here. 45 minutes of working out, and then you can go to the prom on Friday.
Hey, man, those jumping jacks are fucking rough.
Hey, you ruined this girl's life, so here's 45 minutes of jumping jacks.
Yeah, she's a little extreme in her trying to get out of it. She's just work out.
But it was
lady.
5 days.
It's 40
5
minutes.
days, though.
Oh my gosh.
I read a lot about this too. There's this shot of the coach lady or the teacher in the foreground,
Coach.
and then she's in the coach, and then she's in the background, and they use this thing called like the diopter lens. I don't know if you guys picked up that on other types in the movie, but it's like some lens that like the foreground will be super in focus, like someone in the background will be super in focus, and like the middle's kind of like not in focus. And they use it like a couple of times, like with the mom at the sewing machine, and here and as another part too. It's kind of a cool camera trick.
Yeah, it's cool. I like that.
They have that later when Tommy and Carrie are in like the classroom too. I wasn't sure if that was a camera effect or if that was like two shots that they just kind of blurred together somehow.
Well, it looks like it's fucked up. The whole point of the shot is to make it look surreal or something.
Oh, it looks fucked up.
Because it's like different. The people are different sizes. Like there's one shot where Carrie's face was really close, and then I don't know, like the secretary of the school or something was right next to her, was still perfectly in focus. It just looks weird.
Weird indeed. So we move on, and one of Carrie's classmates, you already mentioned Chris, I think her name is. Sue is the other one that's like Chris's. It feels like she's really good friends with Chris, but Sue actually feels really bad, and she ends up convincing or making her boyfriend Tommy, who has a blonde perm, I guess. He is made to invite Carrie to the prom, somewhat unwillingly, but he gets on board pretty quickly.
He looks like the lead singer of The who ironically also played Tommy.
Roger.
Yeah, Roger Daltrey in that fucking rock opera, which is so boring.
He is such a huge doucher in this movie. Oh my gosh. The first time you see him, he's like, Carrie compliments his poem that you later find out
Josh, you're
later
clicking.
No, fuck. Good call, Stevie.
I kind of liked him, though, but...
It's a much different talent, Tommy, than scoring touchdowns or running home runs.
I like Tommy.
I like him
did
too.
too.
I don't think he was a huge doucher. I just think he was caught in the middle of a bad situation.
He looks like a huge doucher.
But I think at heart he's a nice guy.
Did you think he was doing something nice?
I was going to get to that later. I was going to bring that up, but...
See, at first I thought Sue was doing all this with real bad intentions.
Me too. I thought
Just
they did a really good job. Like, maybe nobody else thought, but...
Being a real
runaround
runaround Sue.
I could not tell if Tommy and Sue were, like, doing it out of the kindness of their heart or if they were involved. I thought they did a really good job of kind of keeping that under wraps.
I love how Tommy's watching a straight Jeff Long show, and that's what brings him to realize that he should probably go to the prom with Carrie White.
I think it's the Rockford Files.
Just a lone horse, a guy on a horse, just going through a field.
Good lord. So, Tommy, and I think the story kind of splits into two here. We'll address the Tommy and Carrie part first, and we'll come back to Billy and Chris and their endeavors in a minute. But Tommy invites Carrie to the prom. She says no, and she's very, she's very frustrated. Like, why would you invite me? And then somehow she kind of gets convinced. She goes home, and she starts making her dress. Pap, this is the scene that you had suggested that I use for the opening spoiler here.
Yeah, that was my bad joke. Thanks for throwing me under the bus.
What was the joke?
It's my joke. Go ahead. Yeah.
Chest pillows or pillow something? Is that what?
Yeah,
dirty pillows.
And the mom.
I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, is this the scene where the mom is talking about like how Carrie was conceived too? Is that this part?
Not yet.
Not yet. What were they talking about here? What happens here?
I think she's just trying to convince her not to go. They're all going to laugh at her, that sort of thing.
Oh, they're all going to laugh at you. Yeah.
This is like the first scene after like Carrie uses her telekinesis on purpose and like puts her mom in her place. So her mom's kind of like disheveled, begging at this point.
Yeah, which is the line. They're all going to laugh at you. I'm surprised that's like considered one like a pop culture icon line, but it goes quick. Like it doesn't really stand out to me like a lot of those lines do.
Away! Stop it, Mama! Stop hurting yourself, Mama! He's gonna laugh at you. They're all gonna laugh at you. It's not too late. You can stay here.
Yeah, I feel like in the moment it doesn't really stand out, and then they play it later on like twice when she's...
They're all going to laugh at you.
Yeah, like being crazy.
No, it's like in a recording, just
at
rolling.
the end, though. At the end, they say it like 100 times.
It's like in DuckYouSucker, that scene where it's like all...
Sean.
No.
Sean.
We did. So
Pappy,
spoilers deep
it's
cut.
in that same era, honestly.
Yeah.
And like Sergio Leone's like they're in the cab or the carriage and it goes around and they're saying the N-word in that. And it's like it's like a thing looping. It really is like that same sort of edit
It really
style.
is, and I'm glad you brought up the editing too, because I think there's a lot of bold choices in the editing. And who edited this? I forget. I put it in the thread earlier. It's John.
Was it Hirsch or something like that?
John Hershey edited Empire Strikes Back and Ferris Bueller's Day Off in the first Star Wars. But like, I don't know if we're talking about this scene later, but he does a lot of cool stuff with the editing, but there's one thing that doesn't make any sense to me. And like, I rewound it on the rewatch like 3 times because it was so inexplicable. It's when they're in the tuck shop and they're having this conversation about Ruffles.
Bad.
And all of a sudden they just fast forward for like 10 seconds.
Well, yeah, it looks good on you, but I don't look right in a tuxedo.
How do you know? You ever put on a tuxedo?
I don't have a tuxedo body.
Ruffles, you always gotta make a joke, right? No, I just don't like Ruffles. I know they have tuxedos here for you.
What is that?
Is that just to show that they're not talking about anything important and it's just a bunch of turds like wasting time? Or
doesn't work.
I sailed the 7 seas to watch this, so I thought my copy was sped up at that point just so they could get away with some sort of weird workaround. I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. I've never seen that before. But I guess it's part of the movie, so.
The only thing I can say is that it maybe sets the tone for weird editing that's going to come soon in the movie.
Yeah.
But I agree, Pappy. It doesn't make much sense.
No, it was weird.
So strange.
What are some of the other editing choices you're thinking of, though, Pat? Because some weird stuff comes up.
Yeah, I was going to say that everything that happens in the prom scene, I don't know if Jordan wants to jump there quite yet, but everything that happens in there
just jump.
Is brilliant. Yeah, I mean, like the split screen, the way that the shots are composed. Like there's even one, like there's this one tracking shot that starts out as a long zoom in, all of a sudden just cuts in the middle of it. Like, I mean, everything he does, it's a really like bold artistic film in a lot of ways, which is it's disappointing that there's so many. It falls prey to so many like cliches of like high school stuff and these scenes in the tuxedo shop. Like it's like it's trying to get to 100 minutes, which is so disappointing in the overall edit as opposed to like what's done as far as an effect.
What about that shot where it's like spinning and spinning and spinning while they're dancing?
Love that shot.
Like
did that make you sick or yeah?
Vertigo-esque.
It's a lot of spins.
Can we talk about John Travolta getting a blowjob in the car?
Stevie, I was going to come to you, yeah.
It just bothered me. Like I understand it's like the 70s and this isn't a porno, but it's so weird to me of like how like it pretty much shows her head going up and down and she's talking the whole time.
That's talent.
Yeah.
She's going, look, ma, no hands. They're both in the air too, so nothing makes sense.
That's just talent.
But if you think about it, the word Billy, your teeth never have to touch.
I didn't think about that, Josh.
I just thought of that. It's actually pretty smart.
How uncomfortable was John Travolta during this scene?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I never had a girl do this before. Hey!
Like, he's a closeted man, though, right?
That was a joke, yeah.
I'm not touching that one.
What do you think about his performance, though, Stevie? Because, like, apparently he wasn't a big name at this point. He was more famous for, one, Welcome Back, Kotter, being on the Sweat Hogs.
This is pre-Saturday Night?
And two, he had a hit song on the radio, which is why he was pretty much cast. It's kind of like the equivalent of putting Justin Timberlake in Social Network or something.
Really? I don't think he was given a lot because the dialogue he was given wasn't that great.
It's terrible.
And also, he didn't deliver it that great. It's like he had nothing to work with.
Nah.
So, I mean...
He's working that hair.
You honestly could have put any actor in there. It'd have been the same effect. He had no effect, like, on the movie whatsoever. But, I mean, good for him for getting in a movie, at least.
Don't be in such a hurry. Come on.
Don't be in such a hurry. I'm hurrying away from you, you know that?
No, you're not.
Pain right in the ass.
You don't mean that.
I don't mean that. You're crazier than a son of a bitch, you know that?
Come here.
Mikey, do you want to walk us through kind of the evil scheme here that comes after the BJ?
Chris is just like propositioning him while she's blowing him to help her with this master plan, which involves John Travolta smashing the head of a pig to gather blood, which was like really kind of a scary scene, I guess. They all sneak into some farm or slaughterhouse or something and pick out a pig and smash its head, and they get blood, and then the plan is to rig it up so when Carrie wins prom queen, because they're going to load the votes, that they're going to dump all this pig's blood on her and laugh at her.
Crazy fact about that slaughterhouse, for a movie club, Bill Paxton was a PA on Carrie, and he scouted that location. He found the mural with all the pigs. Hey, yo, check out all these pigs. He found that.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, Bill Paxton found that place.
Wait, are you counting this as his fourth movie in the four movie club?
No. I debated.
Okay.
We talked to the higher ups at Spoilers. Should this count as a fifth movie? There was a lot of back and forth, a lot of emails, and decided
we'd have to scour all movies for famous PAs.
Yeah,
that would just take
it's a
forever.
slippery slope. So 4 movie.
Fair enough.
Still.
I mean the opening scene with the BJs also features a lot of people getting slapped. I feel like slaps and snaps, Brett, big theme of this movie. So
screw you, man.
So we cut to prom. I think Tommy is actually being pretty nice during prom. He's being pretty nice to
He's a
Carrie.
nice dude.
Yeah, he is. He's an okay guy, Josh.
Yeah, since she's all
He's not a dude.
Since she's she's pretty, so he's nice.
Is she,
'cause he
though?
wants to get
She's
some.
pretty at prom. Even though she looks 47 playing an 18-year-old.
It's
Still
her
pretty.
eyebrows. Any
She
light
looks
eyebrows.
She looks
The
like
nose.
the love child of Gollum and 2015 2005 Michael
I was gonna
Jackson.
say Voldemort, but I mean,
That's too harsh. I don't think she's that. I mean,
Her forehead is very taut.
If you look at Sissy Spacek in Bloodlines and Sissy Spacek and Carrie, she hasn't aged a day. She looks the exact same. So good for her.
that was actually her next role after this, Stevie. They were filmed within a few
She's
months
a
of
cute
each other.
girl.
She's a cute girl. Academy Award winner.
Coal miner's daughter?
Yep.
Nice.
Nice.
John Travolta even has a line where he's like, "Ooh, that Carrie White is."
Yo, I never felt this way about a girl before.
Carrie White sure is cute.
So we're moving on with prom here. Carrie quickly gets on board with dancing. Her and Tommy have a little smooch out on the dance floor, and then Tommy starts talking up their chances of winning prom king and queen. There's some ballots going around, and Mikey, I think the evil plot continues here. You want to step back in?
yeah, they got a weird friend who always wears a hat. Who's going around picking up
Hat
votes.
bitch.
MAGA hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what her deal is. But she's going around picking up votes, and then she's tossing the real votes aside and stuffing Carrie votes in the ballot box or whatever, handing the votes over to be counted. And then John Travolta and Chris are underneath the stage with a rope, waiting to pull it when Carrie goes up there to win prom queen.
Typical high school hijinks.
It's nothing too elaborate. It's no mall rat scheme.
No, it's no
Classic
Mallrats
bucket
scheme.
of blood up top.
I mean, it even doesn't work right, doesn't it? Like he's yanking on it, or they're not even yanking on it when she's up there for some reason. They're just not pulling on the string, and then
Yeah.
it's a really long, stretched out scene for some reason. When all they have to do is yank on the string to get it over with.
And so, Brett, I think you touched on this earlier a little bit, and this is the part of the movie where I was really confused about Sue's role and everything, because she had her boyfriend to ask Carrie to the prom, and no one's really sure of her motivations, especially Miss Collins is very suspicious of her, and Sue is like sneaking around the back of the stage, and she doesn't necessarily look happy, but she's not pissed about them winning prom king and queen. And then she's the one that spots the rope going up to the blood bucket.
I thought it was really well done because I was watching her and she's over there like almost like, I thought she was like smirking. Like, I can't wait for her to get what she deserves. Like
Snoogans.
But then you see her look up at the bucket and I was like, oh crap, she was nice. I thought they hit it pretty well, and I agree with Stevie. I think they're both pretty good-hearted people that, you know, obviously get caught up in some high school shenanigans, but...
Typical pig's blood.
I think that, you know, she legitimately felt bad. They kind of showed that at the very beginning. She looks guilty, looks like she feels bad, and, you know, she probably told, what's-his-face, to Billy?
Tommy.
Just to, you know, Tommy, just show her... You know, good time, let her... So, I really like that. I'm really glad that they
At
ended
the
up...
same time, though, if she would have lost Tommy to Carrie, I feel like she would have been like, that's all good. Like, Tommy can go.
Yeah.
They weren't, like, getting along super well or anything, like... Right?
I thought they were fine. He wasn't slapping her around, so...
It's true.
That's a good start.
One of the last things was like, we don't care what we look like. And he like just flat out didn't answer. I don't know. I thought they had their differences.
There's not a lot to go on. I think it gets back into like the high school stuff that Pappy kind of touched on. Like it doesn't delve all the way into their relationships, which is probably a good thing for the movie. But again, you can't necessarily tell all their motives either. It's interesting that the thing that as Travolta and Chris are pulling on the rope here, the thing that I think sets the bucket off the ledge is Miss Collins slamming the doors on Sue when she pushes her out. And Pap, where do we kind of go from here?
Oh my God.
Oh my god, yeah. Real quick too, about the bucket shot. When they're setting up that bucket, like Brett was talking about, there's this weird, and De Palma called it like a figure 8 shot, but the camera like pans up to the bucket, kind of works around it, then tilts down and zooms in on Carrie in the crowd. And apparently that shot alone took like a whole day of filming to actually like be able to execute it. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, everything that happens in the prom, I'm a huge fan of. But yeah, so, I mean, she gets drenched in the blood. Like, it goes down. It's probably one of the most famous shots in movie history. And I don't know, do you guys, we are spoilers, but is it a bad spoiler that every poster, every image of Carrie gives away what's going to happen ultimately?
Kind of. I thought that when I saw the actual like cover of the movie, I was like, that's weird.
Especially since you're like 10 minutes away from the end at that point. Maybe if you like went around tearing stuff up for like another 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of wraps up pretty quick after that.
This movie's whole brand is like girl covered in period blood. So it is what it is.
I mean, it was a bestseller, so it was a pretty popular story. People used to read a lot more back then. So,
well, I've heard the argument too that it knowing that that's coming, it makes everything that happens before it more tense. I don't know if I necessarily buy that, but yeah. But then what proceeds to happen is like, I mean, I think it's as badass as a 3-4 minute sequence as anything you ever see. Like I mentioned before, it goes into split screen. You get the Psycho-esque music, the high pitched violins going as she closes the doors. And my favorite shot of the whole thing is like, there's this one split screen panel, and the panel on the right like slides over to the panel on the left, and I think it's like all Carrie looking badass. Like, it's just so cool. I love it.
Yeah,
huge fan.
Trust me. Sorry. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me.
The first person who gets hit by the hose and he goes flying, I started cracking up.
I read an interview with PJ Souls. She plays that hat.
The MAGA chick
Mikey was talking about. Yeah, I guess she has like a quick close up where the hose is just blasting her in the face.
Yeah. And
they were like, the fire marshal was like, I can't do this because I can't turn it down. And the stunt coordinator was like, I'll do it. Her eardrum was ruptured, and she had to get like shots for 6 months.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, dude, those hoses are no joke, too.
If you guys go back and watch that shot, she's just like laying, and she has to stay still while she's getting blasted in the face because she's like dead, so she can't move.
And just another quick note that I picked up from that is that hat that she wore was actually her hat in real life, and she's basically cast because Brian liked the hat with the girl. And then the other funny thing is that the whole casting for this cast was done with Brian De Palma with George Lucas for
hey there, Brian. Let's try the casting together.
I thought some of it rhymed a little bit.
Maybe if she hit her with the hat, be more effective.
Yeah, apparently it's like this big cattle call, right? Like they did Star Wars and Carrie at the same time, and like George got first pick pretty much, and then it was kind of like this is who was left over.
I need one girl.
But Hat Girl, dude, I love the shot when there's a shot in the hair salon, like the dresser, and the hat's on top of the big blow dryer, which is the scene right before that too. Sorry to backtrack, Jordan, but it's probably the most comedic scene of the whole movie when the one guy is convincing the nerd to let him collect the ballots. He's like, I'll be there at 6. I'll be there at 8:00. He's like, I need you here at 6:30. I'll be there at 8. I love that part.
Ernest, listen, tonight's prom night and everything, right?
Oh, yeah, I didn't know you were interested in going.
I mean, I'm not interested in going. I'm a student here, am I?
I don't know.
Huh?
Are you?
Sure I am. I got so much spirit in this school, I want to be on the committee.
Well, you're a little late, Freddie. I could have used you a week ago on the decorating committee.
No, I'm not late, Ernest. I'm right on time, pal. I want to collect the ballots, for the king and queen and the voting and, Think we can arrange that, huh?
Yeah, okay. Can you be here 6:30?
No, can't be here at 6:30. I'll be here at 8. How's 8? 8's fine with me.
Yeah, that'll do. Okay.
Okay, well, we'll see you then.
Yeah, see you, Freddie. Take it easy.
Yeah, I'll take it any way I can get it, pal.
Some of those random shots of the high school stuff kind of reminded me of maybe Fast Times or even Dazed and Confused, maybe? A little bit?
Bates High School. Get it?
Yeah.
Sorry, Jordan. We were in the prom scene.
Just letting you guys roll with it, man.
It was a rigged election.
That was good.
So, everybody, I think, in the school dies. Chrissy and, what's Travolta's name? Billy? Chris and Billy, they escape, and
Sue does too.
As does Sue. Yeah, you're right. Carrie ends up kind of walking out past all this carnage that she's wreaking behind her, and she closes the doors again, and everyone is kind of just assumed dead. She's just walking down the road covered in blood. The ensuing scene here is a little bit it made me laugh a lot. So John Travolta's driving a car at her from behind, and she suddenly turns around, and we get like this Psycho-inspired like, and she flips the car, and it explodes in the air, and it's just, it seemed like a Family Guy scene, kind of.
I love those jump cuts too, like into her eyeball, where it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can we just
old school
quick talk about some of the teacher just got a terrible death.
Talk about
undeserved.
it, Brett.
Undeserved, but I had to ask Brittany. I was like, was she really laughing at her? And she's like, no, she wasn't. She's just crazy. Because that changes everything to me. But this big old platform comes down and cuts her in half, or just just
you
crushes
like to
her.
think that Carrie is meting out justice, and all the bad people are dying, but the teacher had as good of she had as good intentions as anybody, right, Brett? I think that's kind of what you're getting at.
But when she's going nuts with the pig's blood on her, and she's seeing that what is that called? Gosh dang it, I had kaleidoscope view.
Mm-hmm.
And then the teacher's in the middle, and for some reason she's laughing, even though again I don't think she's really laughing. I think Carrie's just completely lost it, and I think that's because she saw her laughing. That's why she had to go too. So and the Mr. Cassie guy and the jerk teacher both get electrocuted. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. The rest are just burning alive.
Pretty
I'd
funny.
imagine
Burning alive and also getting shot by a fire hose at the same time.
Tommy gets knocked out by that bucket.
Tommy,
and so he just burns to death, I guess.
Yeah, poor Tommy.
Poor guy.
Rip.
His hair probably went up quick.
Oh yeah. Sorry, go ahead. You're good. Those are the three I wanted to talk about, so you're good to go, Joe. Sorry.
No, you're right. So just about everybody is dead except for Sue, Chris, and Billy, and Carrie. Carrie goes home, and she takes a long bath. Not as many bags this time. She comes out clean, and her mom's kind of creeping behind a door here at the top of the stairs. Yeah. They have a little moment.
Hold me.
Yeah, she just wants a hug, and her mom starts telling her about how she got pregnant with Carrie. It sounds like the only time that they ever consummated their marriage, and it was sort of rapey, and she ends up, as they're praying and kind of hugging, she stabs Carrie in the back and pushes her down the stairs. Josh, where do we kind of go from here, man?
Whew. So part of the movie that I didn't remember at all is that eventually this whole house just caves into the ground.
Poltergeist.
Yeah.
But yeah, the mom hugs her, tells her this story, and Carrie, like, she has so much power, but she's just like in a super vulnerable position. She gets stabbed in the back. Her mom chases her around the house while she's crawling, and she ends up sending all these knives through her mom. I think, Stevie, you said that kind of looked like Saint
Sebastian.
Was it actually like in the same kind of spots?
Exact.
Yes.
Yeah, with the arrows and stuff.
Yeah, so she kills the mom, and then I have no idea why the house crumbles. Like, I guess the devil's coming to get his comeuppance or something.
I just figured she was having a telekinetic psychotic episode, but it could be anything, I guess.
That's a good call. Anyone else got any theory?
The only thing I know about Saint Sebastian is I wanted that to be my confirmation name, but Zach Eppers took it because he was like the patron saint of athletes, and so then I settled for Michael after you, Mikey. True story.
What was the story of Saint Sebastian?
I know the story, Mikey. Well, it was back in
what happens? Why?
It was back in the Roman days where they were persecuting Christians, and he hid the fact that he was a Christian, but then he got caught. So they took him out into a field and tied him to a tree and shot arrows at him. And they left him there. So, and then some woman, I believe her name is Irene, came out there because she felt bad and she wanted to bury him, but he was still alive. So she nursed him back to health. Somehow you can survive in 200 AD with a bunch of arrows, but whatever.
Did he come on, Irene, after that?
I doubt he was pretty pious. So, like, pretty happy story, right? He comes back from the dead. Yeah, no, so he goes and sneaks into town and starts ripping on the emperor for attacking Christians. So then they beat him to death with clubs.
Man.
And dump him in the sewer.
So why does he have those googly eyes?
Why do they glow?
They dump him in the sewer, so. Poor Saint Sebastian.
Poor Saint Sebastian.
R.I.P.
Rip.
I guess that makes sense. Carrie just wanted her end to come, so she pulled the house down on top of him, maybe.
Yeah.
Stevie, what do you think? You're versed in King lore.
In Stephen King lore? I really didn't love that part of the movie where the house was coming down.
That's fair enough. It's different in the book, right? It's pretty different, I think.
Yeah.
Have you read the book, Stevie?
I have not read the book. I just cliff notes that.
Who's read the most Stephen King books?
I never read Carrie.
No, I've read a few. Go ahead, sorry.
Nice brag, Brett. Sorry.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Weird flex, Brett.
Great author.
Weird flex. But, I didn't love that part of the house coming down. I think that was more just for cinematic effect than actual storytelling, which was kind of bothersome to me. I think it could have had a better ending than them just bringing the house down, but it looked cool while they were doing it, at least.
Does Stefan like this movie?
He said he did like the movie, and he said the ending was better in the movie than in the book.
But he's not talking about this part, right?
Well,
no.
It was pretty. You don't really know what he meant by the ending, but
well, I heard in a different interview that
he was talking about the psychic connection between Sue and Carrie.
You don't even think it. Sorry. No, go ahead.
I said I read in another interview that he almost shit his pants when she sticks her hand out of the ground. What are you gonna say, Mike?
That's funny.
You don't even think it looks cool, Stevie, when this house is coming down?
Oh, I think it looks great. I didn't think it was necessary for the movie. I think it looked awesome.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
I think it was one of those things where it wasn't necessary to the plot. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, that looked cool.
Since we're on the topic of Stephen King, I know you guys did It recently. I wasn't on that pod, but
over a year ago.
Recently. I don't know. I've read some Stephen King. I've seen some movies of his, but what do you think it is that is the quintessential aspects of a Stephen King story? Because I feel like you can feel that in this, but it's hard for me to put my finger on it.
There's usually a writer, this is a rare one, but there's not one of the main characters is not a writer of some sort.
How about really mean bullies? Super mean bullies.
Yeah.
Who are greasers sometimes, even though it doesn't fit at all within the context of this film in any way.
So, Stevie, you said you hadn't read the novel Carrie?
No, I have not.
Has anyone here?
No, I have also
It's
not.
a very short book.
It feels like one of those things where the book would make a lot more sense. I feel like the movie moves really fast.
From the
through a lot of
cliff
these
notes I
things.
read, it seems like if you read the book, you would love the movie a lot more.
Okay, so it's more of like an accompanying piece almost.
Yes.
I think Wikipedia kind of answers that. And again, it's Wikipedia, but it just says she, distraught over her mother's death, Carrie loses control of her powers and causes the house to crumble and burn down, with Carrie and her mother still inside, leaving them both dead. So I that's kind of what I thought. Wikipedia's never wrong.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, the book ends with her and
It's
Sue.
disappointing that she would be sad about her mom.
I agree, but I guess that's like a common thing. I mean, like the abuser, you're drawn to that person for some crazy mental reason.
I just wish Carrie would have grown and been like, "Oh, I'm guilty about all those people I killed."
She made like
so
a
I'll kill
change.
myself.
Went on the hero's journey.
It's a protagonist that made it like a
To be
change.
honest, if it ended there with the house crumbling, I'd be happier. I hate this little tacked on thing at the end
Yeah,
of
it's
the
bad.
book. I despise it.
Agree.
Pappy, tell us about the little tacked on thing here.
So, what's her name? Sue? Sue's
Sue.
dreaming. She's in shock, and her mom answers the phone. And then we see Sue walking up to where Carrie's house was. And this is kind of a cool shot, too, because it looks kind of off. And if you watch closely, it's actually Amy Irving is walking in reverse, and they're playing the footage backwards. And you can see cars in the background
Really?
going in reverse. Yeah, but that's why her approach up to the house looks like kind of, I don't know, angelic, surreal.
Distorted.
That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, but she approaches the house, and then I don't know what she's gonna do. She's gonna lay down some flowers or something, and then the cheapest motherfucking jump scare of a deliverance hand pops out of the rubble, and I don't know. It is scary. Stephen King said he liked it. Maybe it's just we've gotten to the point now in 2018 where jump scares are just too common, too overly done, too passé. I don't know, but did not work for me.
As a theater experience, I could see this being cool and popular. Kind of like a quick jump scare to titillate the audience at the end. But yeah, watching it alone at home in 2018, it's like, story-wise, this is pretty weak.
Do you think it's cool that Sue's mother in the movies or mother in real life?
That is cool.
Yeah.
Some method acting.
De Palma's done that before. Josh, I have a question for you. Do you would you call this a well-edited film overall?
Mm.
Man, it's weird. Weirdly edited. I don't know, man. It's not super straightforward like you'd think a Hollywood film should be. It takes a lot of gambles and it doesn't hit every single time. So I don't think it's super polished, but I think it keeps it interesting. So I like it personally, but you like the split screen stuff that they did at the end? You mentioned, did you guys all like that?
I did, I think.
I mean, I thought it was cool looking, but if we're going to talk about the editing, we talked about that scene in the tuxedo shop, and that's the only thing I can think about if we're going to talk about the editing, and it just sticks out like a sore thumb, which is a bad thing.
Which I was listening to an interview with him too, and he's being a total Sith about it, just dealing in absolutes. He's like, well, it was either mess with the pacing of this scene or cut it entirely. I'm like, no, there's other things you could have done. Like, I don't know, how is speeding it up the only possible answer?
He's not even saying anything important.
It's a weird choice.
Either. Just cut that out. I don't know.
I
Makes
feel
no
like the
sense.
editing, the split screen, and I think this because there's a few like like some of the artwork that you see online is like comic-y almost, of like Sissy Spacek's face with blood all over it. And I think the split screen almost makes it feels more like comic-y at the end, which is, I mean, that's not the origin of the story, but it kind of, I don't know, it gives it like,
yeah, her superpowers, kind of
like an evil origin story or something.
What do you think about the editing, Stevie?
The overall movie, or just I thought the editing and the whole prom sequence, like the build up to her getting blood dumped on her, was amazing. Especially like post her like getting blood dumped on her, and there was definitely like mixed reactions throughout the crowd, but there was no noise, which I thought was super well done.
So you think it was a dream? Quiet, do you think it was like a hallucination, the laughs, or were the laughs really there?
I think the laughs were there. I think it was more for effect to like show you kind of like, I guess, have a greater effect on what was actually happening by not having noise and just having yourself to your thoughts. Kind of just getting a pure reaction instead of having like audio noise to it. But I like, outside of that quick speed up, which made no sense in the tuck shop, I actually liked the editing in this movie quite a bit.
The weird thing about the tuck shop is those two people he's with are like completely throwaway characters.
Yeah.
There's no point. Like if it was two people with, gosh, I'm terrible, Tommy.
Yep.
Yeah.
With Tommy, you know, that was funny. And I don't know if they're just trying to set up a really quick joke later when he shows up in the tux.
The tuck
shirt.
Yeah.
But the two guys, I mean, they're barely anything in the whole movie, so it's just extra weird. It's like kind of what Pappy said, that whole thing could have been taken out and you could have done 3 minutes of, I thought every time Sissy Spacek talked was awesome. You could have done 3 more minutes of her talking.
That one guy's like working on his tight five about like ruffles. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like I don't understand. Like why are we watching this right now? Every time like we don't have Sissy Spacek or Piper Laurie on the screen, the movie suffers, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I agree. And I was going to say, like, just to wrap up this conversation, I think the cinematography is on point throughout. So I give that like an A, but editing goes down to maybe like C+, and acting right around that same area too.
Yeah.
And that's Carrie.
Yeah.
Nice.
Do we have any kind of closing thoughts? I feel like we went through a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, Kirsten looks like Sue at the end, and that's why she picked
That's what
this
I
movie.
You thought Kirsten looked like Sue? Because the curly hair?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I can see. Just a white person with curly hair. Boom.
Big eyes.
Boom.
She was going to do a yes or no, but she just walked away.
Oh.
Like right when I said that, or what?
Pretty much, yeah.
What the heck?
I'm just kidding. I did think that the music was interesting because there were some, like, and I read some of this online too, that there's some influence from Psycho and like the screechy like string music there.
Bernard
like
Herrmann.
The Bernard Herrmann stuff. But I thought like by and large a lot of the like the sound effects weren't great. I don't know if you guys caught on to some of that stuff or not. It seemed like a lot of they were trying to jump scare you with like the audio almost.
I thought it was kind of cool, but it sounded weird. I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, does one stick out, Jordan?
It was like earlier in the movie, like well before like the prom scene. Just some other, like there's one, and the scene made me really laugh when she's walking home from the principal's office and she knocks that kid off of his bike. It's like, dick kid. But they do that like weird noise and it's like during like a really funny part. Yeah, exactly. And so like I thought the scene could have been really cool and funny, but it just like threw me off that they did this spooky music.
Did anybody else think the dialogue for the audio is a little low? Like I turned on closed captionings for my Amazon Prime copy that I watched.
I always do, so I didn't really notice.
Yeah.
You always have captions on?
I always watch movies with captions on.
Yeah.
That's something it's something I kind of married into. I did it earlier, but now it's like everything we do.
Oh man,
I need it. I know it's crazy.
It's the only way I watch movies, Jordan.
I can only read. I can't
I'm
focus
with you,
on
Stevie.
Subs
I know,
over dubs.
but
so no one else just turns it to like 11.
11.
Dude, I had it up and I could hardly hear what they were saying.
And then the music will be extremely loud.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's why I started watching subs.
Just like Parallel by Alex Cooper.
Shout out.
Shout out to Coops.
Man, that was not a shout out. That was a throw under.
It's a roast.
A criticism.
Roast.
Shout out to some shitty audio movies.
It's only
Parallel.
fair that he got a shout out on the all-time bags episode, right?
Fair point.
How much does an Alex Cooper watch cost?
No.
Any final thoughts before we get into yes or no's and then trivia?
Did these girls care way too much about volleyball? Is that what set this whole thing off?
I mean, that girl took her MAGA hat off and like pimp slapped her with it over volleyball.
It's PE, Greg.
People don't forget.
Jesus fucking.
All right, let's throw it around. We'll do yeses or nos. Kirsten wants to go first, I think.
Ooh.
Hey now.
Kirsten, what you got?
All right, I didn't want to go first, but
Oh,
I
that's
give
not
it a
what Jordan
yes.
said.
I give it a yes. Honestly, like I said, the first time I watched it, it was just the end, and watching it all the way through, it was very iconic to me. A lot more bags than I've ever expected it to have. I watched the first scene and I was like, and I wish you didn't tell them that I'd picked this movie.
Yeah.
But yep, I vote yes.
Just to note, after the scene when when Carrie and her mom get in a fight and she's like throwing her mom down on the bed, Kirsten said, "I regret everything. I wish I didn't choose this movie." But anyways, we'll continue east to west. Brett, that's you again.
Yeah, this is a yes for me. I'm glad. I knew it would happen, but I'm glad you mentioned the prom scene. I think from like the moment the blood gets dropped, it's just like cinematography. It's just an unbelievable scene. I mean, everything was so cool. The music, like the split stuff, and she looks like as menacing as any 5'5" little 25-year-old high school student could look. I mean, it was like kind of funny, which I don't think it was supposed to be. Again, I thought the hoses knocking people across the room was like really funny, but I just thought it was incredible. I wanted the two main people to die. I'm not usually like morbid like that, and I was happy when they got in their car accident. But edit point. Definitely yes. It's that was a good. I enjoyed that movie.
Thanks, Brett. To Josh, Stevie, I forget which one's eastest.
I think it was me. I don't think we really got to the bottom of the Stephen King discussion earlier. It was a little stunted, but that's okay. Maybe we can revisit on a future Stephen King movie. But there's something very Stephen King about this movie. Feels very like American, and I think it's a cool lesson for movies to come on how to like kind of deal with superhero powers in a more subtle basis. It kind of grows ever since that like initial like light bulb scene. Like every scene carries in. There's like a little clue, and it kind of builds and builds. It's kind of cool how it does that. I think we've said about everything else. This is a yes for me. It honestly did remind me of Duck-You-Sucker and a lot of the weird, harsh editing and sound treatments that came through. And that was also yes. So I'm just going to be a consistent spoiler man and give it a yes.
I think it was after Josh. I'll give it a soft yes, flaccid yes. I think it has a lot of iconic scenes like the prom scene and maybe some other telekinetic scenes with Carrie or whatever, but I don't know, I just thought the script was kind of weak. I didn't really like some of the actors. Some of the kids I thought were kind of annoying, and the mom was a little over the top for me. It just felt like there was like something missing. It didn't feel like a real fleshed out story to me, so I guess I either wanted more or to see Carrie do more with her powers or something. It just felt like it was missing something towards the end. But the prom scene is really awesome, so I think you should check that out if you're interested in seeing this movie. So it's just a soft yes.
Is it
Stevie? Stevie?
Yep,
Yeah.
Stevie.
Just to kind of touch on what Josh said about Stephen King in the novel. This was his first novel, and he was working at a laundromat, barely just making it by when he wrote this. And Stephen King puts a lot of himself in every book he does. That's why pretty much a lot of them are writers. But I think this was him trying to tell a story of why he felt like an outcast, and maybe the way he thought the world looked at him. So that's kind of my touch into that, Josh, trying to answer what you thought. But I was going to give this movie a no until the prom scene. And it was just so cool. I have to give this movie a yes. So I will give this movie a soft yes.
Stevie,
It's like a third of the movie, too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Prom scene's long.
Mm-hmm.
Stevie, what Stephen King is this? How would you classify this Stephen King?
What drug was he on?
Yeah.
What Stephen King was this?
Yeah.
Probably too broke for
Yeah,
drugs.
probably not cocaine.
Yeah,
not cocaine
there you go,
King.
Brett. He was too
watch your bar.
King.
Can't woo
Cheap
this.
vodka.
It's probably Coffee
A
King.
lot.
That was
A lot of
Misery King.
Kamchatka.
Cheap vodka is Misery King.
Fair enough. Pat?
Yeah, yes for me. It's super uneven, but the more I learned about the way the film was made, I find it an interesting, kind of piece of cinema, which I think is kind of weird to say because I also think there's super tropey, not cool moments that this movie falls into. And I think if this was like a 90-minute film instead of trying to be an 100-minute film or even like an 88-minute film, it could be like a 5-star movie. But yes for me, soft yes. Glad I finally got to watch it all the way through and not the TV version, which I had seen.
Ooh. The TV
No
version
bags.
probably sounds pretty rough.
Yeah, it's all the boring, none of the bags.
So that leaves me. Stevie, I was pretty much on board with you where I really hated this movie up until the prom scene. For me, I don't think that the prom scene saves it. And I also agree with a lot of things that Mikey said. I didn't really like a lot of the characters, that sort of thing. I do agree. I do agree that, as a piece of cinema, it's kind of cool and interesting, but the story itself is, like you said, Mikey, not super fleshed out. Shut the fuck up, Josh. It's a flaccid no. You guys are all being too nice to Kirsten a little bit, I think, as well.
Dude, I was gonna ask the spoilers if there's ever been 7 yeses, but forget about that.
No, well, that would only be 6.
We can't give Kirsten the satisfaction of getting
Isn't
the
that only
only
6
7
total?
yeses.
That's
We
true.
can't give her the one-off and then have her never come back on again.
No way. No way.
It doesn't matter though, because Joe did
Shot that
it
shit
up.
down.
Hmm.
Somebody's got to do their job around here. So that's 5 yeses and a soft no. Stevie, what food is that, man? This is my favorite
Mashed
part of the
potatoes
podcast.
with gravy to drink.
Guacamole that's been sitting out for at 30 minutes, so it's a little brown.
Gravy with some crust on the top.
Definitely apple cake.
We do that bit every week, and it's the same, disheartened, whoever gets called. There isn't one ready.
Before we move on to trivia, Pat, you had some shout-outs, I think.
Oh, yeah, going into trivia, check out Still Sounds. They let us use their music. We found them on Instagram. They're playing in the background now. It's a punk band. But if you want to send us your music, email it to podcastbars@gmail.com. And like I said, we've reached out to people on SoundCloud, so the more music, the merrier, in my opinion.
Still Sounds, that was the band, Pat?
Still Sounds. Yeah, and the song is You Won't, in parentheses, No Balls.
Ooh.
Pappy, we also had a couple Instagrams to read for Carrie tonight.
Do you have it ready?
My phone's upstairs. So, sorry about anyone who replied to that IG post.
Are you talking about the one with Sissy? Or which one are you talking about?
No, the one before that with the Mean Girls.
MAGA hat? Oh, okay. Hey, Down in Front podcast. Read the book about a month ago. Having seen the movie first, the book was not at all what I was expecting with the way it was written. That being said, kind of like the movie better. Haha. And that was Hey, Down in Front podcast. And Pixie Bomber, friend of the show. I've never seen it. Don't let this reflect poorly on me. Crying emoji. So, it does kind of reflect poorly on you that you hadn't seen it.
This important.
I've seen it now, so kind of less than me.
Same.
Fair enough. So as those sweet tunes play in the background, I have.
Come on, get down with the sickness.
This isn't the Matrix.
Oh, we're not playing Disturbed right now?
I have one main trivia question, and I'm worried that some of you may have spotted it in your research tonight. So if that's true, give me a shout, and I will go to our backup
Jordan
trivia
didn't
question.
go in depth on this trivia question? That's weird.
Hey, man, shut the fuck up.
Is that the answer to Josh? No way.
Okay, the last time that happened was 2 full years ago. Also, we got our car broken into that day. So,
wow, Stevie. Classic.
Didn't have time to prepare, Stevie.
And they stole your spoilers trivia? That's
exactly, they stole my notes. My notes.
Yes, Mikey.
Sacred text. Sacred text.
Pap, what's our order here, man?
Dude, I sent it to you earlier today so you wouldn't do this to me.
Oh, was that? No, my bad. That was the order. I thought that was just who was on.
Stevie, Brett, Mikey, myself, Happy, Josh.
All right.
That's his order of how much he likes us. So
the
I'll
order
take
is
it.
that picture
3,
of Brian
7,
De
2,
Palma,
1,
Steven Spielberg.
5. Yeah.
All right. So
Wow, that's so
Stevie,
confusing.
Brett, Money Mike,
Yep.
Pap, Josh.
Definitely
The
the
trivia
order.
question is going to be closest to. No Price is Right rules here. And the question is, how much money did Steven with a V sell the movie rights to Carrie for?
I know it.
2,500
too.
Okay,
2,500,
well,
yeah.
shit. All right. That's why I had this forewarning. I've got backup trivia. All right.
Very honest. Very
So,
honest.
next one is, there was a ill-fated off-Broadway play that was made from Carrie. What character from the movie also doubled as a character in the play version of Carrie?
What performer or what actual character was in both?
I will accept.
Oh, it's the same.
It's the same story, but I will accept actress or actor name. I will accept character in the movie name, or I will accept.
I'll go with Sue.
Stevie says Sue. Brett, you're up.
I was gonna say Sue, but do I have to pick something else, or
Yes.
this is kind of
No.
how does this work?
I mean, I can come up with a tiebreaker pretty quick.
Yeah, pick the same if you want.
Sue.
Is Sue MAGA Hat Girl?
No.
No, it's Sue's nice girl.
I'll choose MAGA Hat Girl.
Hat bitch, says Mikey.
The mom, Margaret White.
All right, Josh.
I want the mom too.
Ooh, jumping on the mom with me.
Yikes.
Yeah. Okay.
What?
Everyone
John
is-
Travolta.
Anyone is wrong.
Oh yeah.
So we move on to round.
What was the right
Who
answer?
was it?
Yeah.
No, that's.
Do we
I
keep
mean,
going?
we're all just gonna guess again. Yeah. We go again.
Oh, I thought I got a new question.
I mean, only
New
three
question.
characters were guessed. So hat bitch, mom, and Sue are all out.
Hat bitch. What happened to her?
Fine, I'll go with gym teacher Miss Collins.
Okay.
Dang,
Ooh, that's a good
I'm
one.
gonna go with gym teacher, Miss Collins.
I'm gonna go John Travolta
Oh my god.
as John Travolta.
Oh my god! I'm gonna go John Travolta too.
I'm going to take gym teacher as well.
Wow.
Wait, Pat, who did you take?
John Travolta. Because I got chills and they're, multiplying.
The correct answer is Miss Collins, the gym teacher.
Shit. That's stupid.
So what, 3 movies next week?
Sorry, Kylo.
Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Wait, so who's in the tiebreaker? Me, Stevie, and Josh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 second. I'm trying to scramble together this last
Mikey,
trivia
what did you
question.
say?
Fuck me.
Mikey said Johnny Travolta.
Oh, you both said it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Okay. The trivia tiebreaker here. And again, closest to... Pencils down, everybody.
Wow.
The year of said play. What was it?
Oh, my gosh.
Stevie?
Damn it. Well, I have to imagine it'd have been. I'll go with Orwell. Let's go 1984.
Oh, man.
Brett?
Viacone Orwell.
1981.
And Josh?
Say 1980.
Good guess.
Poof. And the winner, he comes from the first pick, Stevie.
Yeah!
88. 88.
Huzzah!
Against all odds, Stevie. We'll take a little break here, go to Spoiler Man, and we'll come back with Stevie's pick.
QQ.
Spoiler Man here. Our email is podcastspoilers@gmail.com. Twitter is @spoilers_pod. Our Instagram is Podcast Spoilers. It's lit. Josh Hensley from the Rutabaga wrote our theme song. Our spoilers hotline is 903-776-4507. That's 903-SPOIL07. Please support this podcast by leaving us an iTunes review. To do this, 1. Search for Movie Spoilers. 2. Click on our orange Spoilers Bowl logo and scroll all the way to the bottom. 3. Leave us some stars and some words. Now you can check us out on Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, Apple, and Google Podcasts. If you enjoyed what you heard today, subscribe on SoundCloud or iTunes.
I fucking hate trivia.
Was that the most questions ever asked that wasn't like directly related to the main trivia?
Probably.
I loved it.
Stevie, is that back to back to back for you? Is that a three-peat?
I think I'm on a three-peat right now.
Did you do
What are you talking
Can
about?
you share the wealth a little
Did you do
bit?
Donnie Darko?
I did Donnie Darko.
Oh, no, but any
Oh,
chance I get
Prisoners,
to
sorry.
do one.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah,
get
yeah,
it.
yeah.
You won.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Some other people would like to choose some movies. I haven't chosen a movie since like July.
Hey man, that was my
Which was
first
it?
one in a while.
Mallrats? Is that the...
Oh, really?
No, is that really the most recent one?
That's so long ago.
Enchiladas? Is that it?
I don't know.
Nocturnal Animals?
We gotta wrap this
Nocturnal.
up.
It's
I've
definitely
been in
Nocturnal.
trouble. I've been in trouble all night, so.
Alright, I got it.
Right.
And we're back. Stevie, what's next week's pick?
I've done a movie with this guy's before, and I think he is a international treasure. His name is Taika Waititi, and we are going to do his phenomenal movie, Hunt for the Wilder People.
Nice. 3-movie club.
Nice.
I thought you were
yeah,
gonna say Nick Cage and National Treasure at the end there.
No, Nick Cage is going to be the last 50 episodes. Just all Nick Cage.
Just face off 50 times in a row.
This movie looks like a waste of time. I'm not going to be on the pond.
Oh my gosh.
The thread always comes into.
Josh is so petty, I love it.
All right.
That was spoilers.
Yeah. potatoes? Gross. You crazy.